liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a memorial moment for Jim Scheitz, here who passed away on April 25th, 2022. Jim was instrumental in the development and maintenance of the Legion baseball field at Jim Beecher Park. Thank you. For whoever's taking minutes, there was an executive session held before the board, by the board meeting before tonight's meeting. We'll start with doing a presentation for our annual MS board presentation. This time I'll turn it over to our township manager.
Yeah. If you haven't already, there's a packet of handouts there and also a sign-in sheet. Regardless of whether you intend to speak tonight at any of the public portions, if you could sign up, just put your name and address on there. It's one of the requirements that we have as part of the MS4 program. So if you did pick up the printout of the PowerPoint presentation, I'll skim through this. It hasn't changed much in year to year, but the first slide here is the definition of the acronym of MS4. It stands for the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, as compared to a combined system, which would have a sanitary sewer and storm sewer combined. We do not have that. We have a separate system. The state requires they have these minimum control measures, which all participating municipalities must complete a portion of throughout the year. And this presentation is one of those minimum control measures, along with other informational pieces that we put out via the web or at public events, River Fest, Spring Fiesta, events similar to that. One of those pieces that the township is responsible for is the illicit discharge detection and elimination, IDD&E. That stands for. And basically this is, we're going out and we're looking for issues as they arise. If somebody calls in and says there appears to be oil in the creek or foam in the water, we're going to go out and we're going to look and we're going to try to figure out if we can tell where that came from, and then remedy that situation. Another portion of the plan that we need to have in place is this pollution reduction plan that's required. In Muhlenberg's case, for the Laurel Run Creek, which is impaired with sediment. So the state says that at the end of the permit, we have to have reduced the amount of sediment that enters the Laurel Run Creek by 10%. The next page of the presentation gives you examples of how much material that is. The way the township intends to satisfy those requirements is on the next page in both structural and non-structural BMPs, which is a best management practice, via the installation of vegetated swales, stream bank restoration, and tree planting, all of which we've applied for some grant funding for, and most of which will occur in Laurel Lane Park. And then you've got the non-structural BMP efficiencies, which include, as the picture shows, street sweeping and catch basin cleaning, which the guys are out doing on a regular basis. Our goal is to have all the catch basins cleaned once a year. We have to weigh that material to know how much we collect in order to be able to report that to the state. There's a really quick review. Any questions?
You need to upgrade.
Yeah.
Let's put a new truck on there. So
Yeah.
Can't keep that.
Well, it's black and white, so you can't tell it's that old.
Or let's put a new black and white.
Does anyone from the public have any questions for Mr. Bovek regarding the annual MS4 update? Seeing none, I'm sure we'll have this PowerPoint available on our website and we'll go from there. Folks, first public portion, a time for residents or taxpayers to comment on matters or official actions or deliberations with mayor and maybe before the board of commissioners. If you wish to speak to the board, please address us, and I ask everyone else in the audience to allow them to answer questions directly to the board. Mr. Dunkel. We have Diana Hoffa, 140 Madison Avenue. Wish to speak, if you could come up to the mic.
Yes, I'm here today to find out what can be done about excessively loud music being played in my neighborhood. It gets so loud, it's all night long, sometimes 2, 3 in the morning. You can hear it through my doors and windows being shut. And it's getting worse. New people, old people move out, new people move in, and it's bad. Most of our houses are semis, so we have a lot of houses in the area.
I don't know, Chief, Mrs. Sapa, we can have, we can just give them a little more information. You can do it now or later time of day. We can, your phone number, we have your address, so he can talk to you and then his team, his patrol team about when to come by and when to, I don't believe we've gotten any other complaints yet that I've seen, not saying we haven't. But if we could communicate with the chief, then we'll do what we do and see if we can help.
Okay.
Did you file a request in the app this weekend? No, it was somebody else. I don't know that that was the right address, but
Okay.
my response then, and the chief, I think, will confirm, when it's happening, the non-emergency police line is the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And we will not give out the name of people that call us.
I've approached the neighbors and then I'm told I'm ugly and I need to move to an old age home. So,
Oh,
I mean, I've lived there 36 years, never had to put up with this. I mean, it's excessively loud. It's not, I love music, don't get me wrong, but it's excessively loud.
Sure.
And are there other neighbors that are complaining?
Yes,
Can you give those names also?
yeah,
Or encourage them to call in, right?
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I contacted a neighbor to come along.
It's always good to have more people that
Right,
have
right.
the same issues.
Yeah, right.
Next is Jerry Dalton, 3010 Elm Road. And Mr. Steinford, how are you?
Hello, commissioners. I'm Jerry, this is Jeff. We are both board of directors at Laurel Run Swimming Pool. And we are here to ask if you people know of anything that we could get for like grants for our pool. Our president, Lori Messer, asked last year and the township said, we can't do anything because if we do, we have to give it to all the pools. Well, we are the only one afloat anymore. The one off of Water Street is not going to open this year. So if any of you know anything that we can do, we're looking for grants or.
Yeah, I just joined the board a couple of weeks ago. I'm semi-retired now, so I got involved in this. And I actually learned to swim there about 60 years ago. And it's kind of nice to be back. And as you know, a swimming pool, we have fundraisers, I mean, but it's hard to stay afloat, so to speak. So we had a board meeting yesterday, and I thought, you know, having worked here years ago, and I certainly, worked under Steve Landis. And I remember one of Steve's gifts was applying for grants, and so not so much coming to you guys directly, because I know there's a conflict. I mean, you represent the whole township. We're a private entity. But I was hoping maybe one of us could sit down with the Parks and Rec director, sort of pick his brain and see if there is anything we could do to, access whatever state, federal money might be out there.
Sure. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask because I was also a board of director for 13 years at East Reading Swimming Association in East Reading.
Sure.
I was 9 years as a assistant manager, not assistant manager, vice president. And I went to the city and asked them, and they actually gave us free water. I was kind of shocked when they said this, and they said, you need the fire hoses. I said, we have them because we clean out our pools with them. And I didn't have that thing running into our pool for 15 minutes, and a police officer came, somebody must have called them, and I had to slip this thing, we could fill the pool. And that helped a whole lot. That really did. Not anything that you can think of or do, we would appreciate it because we want to keep this afloat. This is the last pool. We have a lot of teenagers there. We have basketball courts, volleyball courts, we have swimming, and we have diving. And this is all good for teenagers to get out of the house and do something. And we were talking about it, and they said, we have a meeting tomorrow night. I said, Jeff, let's just go down and ask them. They might have some ideas that we don't.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask our Parks and Rec folks if they can sit and help you out and lead in any direction. We know it's hard, we understand it, but as you can understand, we can't. I want to speak for myself, but I think the board is very, they're giving direct funding to private associations just because we haven't controlled or monitored the finances and we don't know any of it. Where do we want, it's not our deal, but I think as being good public servants, Jim and Karen can lean on their contacts to say, you know, they've been in the park and rec business for a long time. And they might be able to help you. So they would be the people, I think, that could help at least maybe lead you in the right direction.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for, somebody that, because there's 10 of us on the board, and we're at wit's end. We're keeping above the water, but just barely above that line of
Is
water.
that fair enough? Karen and Jim?
Absolutely.
So if you can reach out to,
Are you guys gonna stay for the meeting, or are you planning to?
Sure, we can say.
If you wanna stick around, we can chat after.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jerry. I did speak with Lori Messner a couple of times. I brought some of the information to the Parks Board, and there was a member of the Parks Board from the school district who said that there was swimming team, and there are some people on the team that would be willing or wanting to become lifeguards, and getting lifeguards was a problem for you.
We have now 13 lifeguards. We really reached out to everyone that we could think of. And with the older girls and boys that are lifeguards, their brothers and sisters, they have to be 15 and, be certified. That costs them $285, but we got somebody that would help us at our pool and certify them at our pool. That helps a whole lot too. So we're pretty much set with lifeguards right now. And that was our problem. We were getting nervous about that because you have to have so many lifeguards on at all times. And I'm a stickler for that. We got one lifeguard on and we got kids in the baby pool way down here and there's people in the diving well way up here. That's a lot to watch. We had one of our board of directors go in as he was walking by and somebody was drowning, actually. He just went in with his clothes on, just jumped in and pulled her out. That shouldn't have been him. That should have been a lifeguard. But no, we're okay with lifeguards, but money-wise, we're stretching thin. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak under the first public portion? Thank you, Eva, for doing it. All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the entire consent agenda. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. No, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any, will have any unfinished business?
Yeah, I'll bring this up under business. We had our first joint meeting last Wednesday evening with the First County Planning Commission to discuss the updates to our comprehensive plan. Matt McGough was here and he was later joined by David Hunter. Matt is a planner with the First County Planning Commission. David Hunter is the director of the First County Planning Commission. In addition to myself and Commissioner Muhlenberg, we have representation from the Muhlenberg Zoning Hearing Board and the Muhlenberg Planning Commission. We have representative from the Muhlenberg School District. We have a member of the Parks and Rec Board present. The only representation that was absent was from Laureldale. Of course, is a big component of this, but and I'm not sure why, but they weren't there. Regardless, we had a really good initial meeting. We will be meeting monthly moving forward. Expect this to be 18 months, about an 18-month process. There was a lot of really good discussion. And it was very civil. We brought up a lot lot of questions. It was more about the things that we'd like to accomplish. And one of the things that, one of the questions posed to us was, you know, what do we want to get out of the comprehensive plan? And I talked about, you know, the reason I wanted to try to do this mainly in-house with the county's assistance was because we have a lot of smart people. There's a lot of good volunteers, you know, who serve on these boards and are elected into these positions, who I think can help identify what Muhlenberg should be. I said, one of my points was, we talked about the fact that if you say Hamburg or Burnville or Bern Township or West Reading, people immediately get an idea in their head what those areas are. And if somebody says Muhlenberg Township, it's kind of a mixed reaction. And I talked about the fact that, you know, we face all the issues that a small city faces. I said, you know, we have some very high density areas like Hyde Park. I said, and then, you know, we at the other end of the township, you know, we have homes that are fast approaching $500,000. And David Hunter sat there, and he said, you have $500,000 homes in Muhlenberg? And I said, my point, exactly. They said, you know, and depending on who you talk to in Muhlenberg, there's different identities. And the purpose of this isn't to erase those neighborhood identities. You certainly want to build on that. But Muhlenberg has to be more than just Fifth Street and a former racetrack and a defunct mall. So it was a very good kickoff meeting. They are developing some questionnaires. We did tell the planning commission that that we did have an interactive stand at Riverfest last year. I don't know that we'll have that again, but they're putting together some questionnaires that we can look to get up on the website, get out to the general public. So as soon as we have a little bit more information, I'll make sure that this board can look at that too. We can add to it. One of the things that we'll be looking at immediately is just some of the land use in the township. This is not ordinance driven. This is not zoning driven. It's just what do we already have out there in the township, just to make sure that the county has their records up to date. But it was very productive. It was a pretty long meeting, but it was very, very productive. Looking forward to our next meeting. And so I just want to share that with the community right now. You know, we'll build on that. Hopefully I'll be able to come each month with some updates. Mr. Wolfson, I don't have anything to add to that.
Just the fact that the county wants to hear from you. They want input from everybody as to what you think should be happening in Muhlenberg, and that's what this question was all about. So it's going to be online. You know, so please take your time, respond to it, and it will be calculated and it'll be reported back to everyone.
Thank you, commissioners, for the update. Work project. New business. Any motion to approve payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service? Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Any motion to approve bond reduction number 2, final for the PERC 61 land development plan?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. To accept the whole property group's offer to grant a time extension for land development plan. How much longer?
90 days. Well,
We need a second.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll say.
Go ahead. Derek.
Where the time clock, the MPC dictates that the municipality, the governing body must make a decision on a land development plan within 90 days of receiving that plan. If they are not able to make a decision on that plan, they can, the developer can request an extension. The township can grant an extension for another 90 days. Some projects we've had extensions that lasted 6 months, but this one is 90 days. The whole property group fully intends to have a submission for not this Wednesday's planning commission meeting, but for the June meeting.
All the timing issue, right, Jim, you talked about, right?
Sorry.
It was all just a timing issue.
It's that there's a handful of issues that go into it. Their engineer is from out of the state, we don't think that they're, you know, completely in tune with operations in Pennsylvania, correct? Yeah.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. No, if any. Ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to appoint Lori Johnson as the additional deputy tax collector for Muhlenberg Township.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I think you
Is it just, you know, I read through this, it's just, we haven't had this in the past, just to make sure that we have somebody here and available to.
Yep.
It's just back up.
Just back up, here, we're just talking about, the motion is to bring Lori on, as a deputy tax collector. And I, you know, have we heard issues or anything when you're away? I mean, I know you're here a lot. I just want to have a general comment.
No, the basic rule of thumb was, a lot of people used to have their spouses as deputies and things like that. About, I don't know, maybe like 5-6 years ago, the state stepped in and said, made recommendations of having a neighboring tax collector be your deputy, because there were instances where the tax collector was incapacitated, and there was no one there to sign for the bank account to pay the money funds to the taxing authorities. So Lori is going to come in as an additional deputy. I have the Laureldale tax collector as my deputy as well, but she will actually be a working deputy that will help me out when I get really busy, and also if I want to take a vacation for once, you know, I can actually go away or.
I understand. All right, thanks.
So it's more depth to the deputies. It's better for the township and all the other taxing authorities in case something happens to me. So.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pat. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the township manager to purchase and outfit Freightliner 108 SV from Vernon Freightliner and Lancaster Truck Body in the amount of $135,746 with the condition that any raw material charges that increase the cost of the truck and upfitting.
Move.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Comment.
Comment. Question.
That's, well, grant.
Grant.
There is a grant for that.
Correct. $348,000 awarded about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yes, this truck is included in that. There is one stipulation, may not be the right word here. If we order this truck today, it'll take approximately 2.5 years to get here. Berman Freightliner and Lancaster Truck Body work together on what they call a stock truck, a truck that they build for themselves to put on their lot and try to sell privately. That truck is identical to what we would get, with the exception that it will have a stainless steel body and the cab will be white. If we buy that stock truck, it'll be $8,000 less and we'll have it in a month, as opposed to $8,000 more with the potential for these surcharges, which, you know, nobody can guarantee. Freightliner's gone through three price increases in the last year. So we won't know until tomorrow morning whether we can purchase that truck at a lesser amount. We're not. Or if we have to order it, wait 2.5 years.
Aluminum body works out?
Mild steel. If we ordered it, we would order it with a steel bed. The truck that they're building that'll be done in a month will be stainless steel.
Yeah, we don't need aluminum. Aluminum's for something over the road, stainless for something that's going to be durable, salt. I'd like the folks to know that we purchased about 10 trucks in the last few years. And all those purchases came about with grants. Our township manager, Jim Buck, writes those grants. And he does a fine job at it. And that's not all we get through grants. I just like you to be recognized for what you do. You're not just another pretty face.
Thank
you. Any more questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the chief of police to purchase a shed for $12,364.37 to replace an existing shed at the shooting range.
Oh,
Seconded. Questions or comments for the chief?
I understand that shed is going to be purchased locally, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's up. Sure. Right.
Yes.
Very good.
I was looking at the specs on that, because, you know, when I first saw that amount, I'm like, Man, that must be some gold line shit. But I understand its purpose and the size and everything that goes with that, so. It was just eye-opening.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any motion to authorize the township manager to dispose of human resource documents per the Pennsylvania Records Retention Act?
Move.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Is there any other business or anyone on the board at this time before we go into the next public portion? Anyone wish to speak on the next public portion? Thank you again, Eva, for distributing all this. All right, seeing now, we'll go on to staff comments. Mr. Dunkel.
Yes, codes officers are doing their best job to get to all the high grass complaints. Just keep in mind, it's like the perfect storm, the perfect weather for the grass and weeds. And just a friendly reminder to usually go to the Muhlenberg app and expedite things for our department a little bit faster. Officers get a better look at something that comes in and better accountability when the app is utilized and that complaint comes through.
How high does it have to be?
10 inches. So we do appreciate everybody's involved in the township. We do get a lot of calls. People are calling if their neighbor doesn't cut at the same time they do, things of that nature. We're not coming out. 10 inches, it's gotta be excessive for us to be out. That's gonna be our next cut that. It's an unmitigated problem. It's a friendly reminder. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Bill?
Tomorrow, election day, if you have any questions as to where and when to vote, you go on our website or go to resources. Tonight, after 9 p.m. will be a big banner for everyone to watch. So if you have voting questions, MuhlenbergTWT.com.
Thanks, Joe. Dawn? Chief?
No, sir.
Aaron?
Just want to mention, we have our annual golf tournament this Friday at Manor. We have 68 golfers, which is 20 more than we had last year, so things are looking up there. We also have kayak in 101 this Saturday out of Jim Dietrich's Park. We're gonna learn how to kayak. Memorial Day ceremony is on May 30th out at Jim Dietrich Park. I know most of the commissioners are there. Mike is actually speaking, but things are coming together for that ceremony as well. It's really nice and touching, actually, if you want to attend. And of course, Spring Fiesta is June 11th.
Jim?
Planning Commission meeting this Wednesday at 7 p.m. here. Otherwise, that's all I have.
And before that, at 5:30, if we're here before the Board of Commissioners, we'll be having a joint meeting with the Muhlenberg Township Authority, discussing the water well situation or long-term viability of how we get water out of the earth. So if you want to learn more about water, come on here, it's open to the public. So you're welcome. That starts at 5:30 and obviously we'll end by 7 o'clock promptly. All right, I think that's it, Commissioner Hart, you're up.
I just want to say a little more about the passing of Jim Scheid. I didn't know Jim personally very well. His son lives across the street from me, and I know his family very well. Now, Jim's seniors dancing is a great loss for this community. There's a lot that takes place in a community for somebody to be able to call it home. And it takes a lot of volunteers, and it takes people willing to be active and want to get out and give up their personal time. And he had just done that with the Legion baseball for so many years, and was still active even though his son and grandsons were, have all grown out of the program. It is just a void, and I'm glad that we were able to have a moment for him tonight to celebrate his life. And I hope that there are others in this community that are willing. I mean, obviously you're all here, and I know a great many people serve on our various boards and commissions, but there's just so many ways to serve your community, and it is a loss, and I hope there are others out there willing to step up. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Imhoff.
On the grass to tag on to that, you see somebody blowing it out of the road, almost, maybe not, call. Because, that's a bad deal. We're talking about the same much for all those grass clippings go in the drains. And it just, was right back in the river. There was something else I wanted to say. Somebody here from the Red Eagle? Are you here from the Red Eagle?
No.
You're not?
No.
Alright. I was hoping that fellow would be here again this week, or this month. Because he sort of wrote a fairy tale about last month's meeting. If you're going to write the news, please write it the way it happens. Last but not least, I want to apologize. Last month, all adults in this room, and when the resident said that this board doesn't care, I said that that was bullshit. What I meant to say was horseshit.
Commissioner Wolfinger, we follow that one.
I don't think so. Jim Schneider, so many great people die, and the next year they're honored, or there's something that happens. Last year, we named the baseball field Scheid Field. And it's so great that we did that. His name's right above the home base, and he really, the whole family was there when it was dedicated. And I'm so happy we did that because he saved us a lot of money by he worked that field. It's gorgeous, and hopefully the guys at the baseball team that take over. But great guy. The only thing I had is the Landlord Seminar that was advertised in the newsletter. That is the notice. It's going to be June 29th. Right now, we have 8 landlords that will be attending. I have a broker who deals with monitoring 180 apartments. He'll be part of the panel. I have an attorney who deals with real estate law. She'll be a part of the panel. People from the codes, zoning, will be part of the panel. If you're ever thinking about being a landlord, get in touch with me. My email address, swolfinger@muhlenbergtownship.com. And it's going to be right here on the 29th, 6:30 p.m. And I'm expecting a lot more people. So if you're interested, please let me know.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lupia.
Just wanted to highlight All Run. I think it's awesome. Unabashedly a pool rat and basically grew up there. I think it's really sad that public pools and private pools are kind of going the way of Dodo. I think it's a great entity and really warms my heart to see that people care enough to try to save it. So keep up the good work and hopefully we can get to the help you need.
Thank you, Commissioner. This last word, once again, reiterate the Jim Scheid comments so I've known my whole life. Also, I did joke with Jim and Danielle that it was probably cost me about 7 lawnmowers. And he had as he wore them out so quickly down there. But that field, everyone across the county that you talked to said it's by far the primo field. But I did, if anyone was at the service, and I think Jim were, young Jim Scheid did kind of put a sales pitch in his eulogy about getting lights there. So he had to drop that. He took the end of that situation. But just a couple things real quick. Based on last meeting, I thought it was important just to follow up if you were here, weren't here, about the fire department. I think sometimes it wasn't represented appropriately how much this board consistently talks about the future of fire services in this community. It's not easy to talk about that because everything costs money. And we've invested a significant amount of your money, our money already, and we understand the issues, and we're continuing to address, what's a good 5-year strategic plan of firefighting in Muhlenberg Township. Commissioner Commissioner Wolfinger and Commissioner Lurch have invested countless hours of time to get us where we're at now. Now I believe it's time that we need to take even further steps in the next several years to ensure that we're meeting the needs that our responsibility is for the safety of our residents. So I think it was a little misrepresented that the township just kind of doesn't really monitor and look at what's happening with fire services. We talk about it till we're blue in the face. That's just not a simple answer. The easiest answer is go fully paid and raise your taxes. I mean, that's the easiest answer you can do, but I don't think that's good stewards of your money or the right thing to do. So I just wanted to make sure that was on the record, to be clear. Also, last but not least, the holidays coming up, Memorial Day. Hopefully Joey, and I don't know if we can put some aprons out, Jim, or something, the fireworks. Again, just a reminder, we can't be at every yard, we can't be everywhere. The police are extremely busy, but it's gonna happen. Just report it as you would, as instructed on the website, and we'll do the best we can to respond. But, the chances of us catching someone putting off illegal fireworks are pretty slim. But we'll respond and do what we need to do in what would be a reasonable fashion, but I'm sure it'll start happening once again over the holiday. So thanks to all the staff for all their work, and we'll see you on Wednesday.